All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome to this month's Virtual First Thursdays presentation. This month, we are focusing on the topic of Move More Together Month, and we've got some special guest speakers lined up that we're very excited to introduce here in just a minute. Before we get started, we do want to let you know that we are going to be recording today's session so that you can view it at a later time or share it with a colleague who may not have been able to attend today. These recordings are available on our EDWS YouTube page, so feel free to check those out there. We upload recordings of programs like these, as well as other offerings such as our cooking demonstrations, guided meditation, chair yoga, and more. During today's presentation, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to use the chat box on the right side of your screen. We'll be monitoring that, and we'll be sure to take some time to address any of those questions towards the end of today's presentation. Without further ado, I am very excited to introduce Jasmine Medrano from the American Heart Association. She's joining us today to give us this special presentation focusing on that topic of moving more. So Jasmine, I will turn things over to you.
Thank you, Ryan, and good morning. I'm very excited to be here with you all today to share a little bit more about physical activity and your heart. And like Ryan mentioned, please feel free to use the chat feature, and I'll make sure to allow some time for questions towards the end of the presentation. So thank you. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. So first thing I want to have us put in the chat box, what kind of physical activity do you like to do? I just want to see what we're already doing among the group. I know for me, now that the weather is clearing up a little bit, although the pollen has been a killer for me as someone who has major allergies, but one thing that I love to do outside is walk with my dog, and we're lucky here in Georgia to have a lot of great places to go for a nice nature walk. So that's something that I really love to do and enjoy to do to get some movement throughout my day and week. So feel free to put those in the chat box. It's a great way to just share some different ideas on things that people currently do. So we'll move right along with a video. I hope you all have some comfortable clothing, or even if you don't, encourage you to take some time to join me in some of these little binge breaks with the video. So we'll go ahead and get started with our first one.
Binge break number 1 coming right up. And it's exactly like it sounds. It's a break from binging, sitting, lounging, relaxing, not exercising. Ditch the popcorn, your phone, the blanket, and get on up. It's time for the warm-up sofa stretch. Let's get moving. Yes. And just so you know, the next time you see me, which may or may not be soon, we're totally breaking a sweat.
Awesome. So I hope you all join me in this nice little stretch to get us started with the information.
Binge break number.
So I would love to just share this statistic with you all and how it relates to heart disease. And heart disease is the #1 killer of adults in the United States. 1 in 4 adults have some sort of heart disease. So it is very prevalent within our communities. And so with physical activity is a very important thing and component on how to either prevent further complications or just to manage any type of chronic disease. Of course, we all know that there are some great benefits of physical activity, and it's not only on effect on your physical health, but it's also on your mental health as well. And so some great benefits: lowers risk of high blood pressure, lowers risk of stroke, improve muscular and cardiorespiratory fitness, helps maintain a healthy body weight, helps prevent falls, which I think with this one in particular, I like to make that emphasis as we get older. Physical activity is very important in just helping us to remain strong and prevent things like falls that a lot of our seniors may experience as they get older, because as we get older, our muscles deteriorate. So whatever we can do to prevent and have our muscles be nice and strong, it's very important. I mentioned improving mental health, which there's been a lot more research coming out on seeing the benefits on our mental well-being. A really new recent studies have been really seeing also how it improves cognitive health, in particular dementia and Alzheimer's disease. So there's a lot more research that is coming out on just the great benefits on our mental well-being, and not just our physical well-being. And of course, it does improve sleep, which we really need as adults to have more improved sleeping patterns. And then I mentioned with the improved bone health, again, that's a big thing that is a benefit of doing physical activity as we get older, specifically for women. It really is a huge benefit as women for us to be physically active so our bones don't become brittle. So you may be wondering, how much do I need and what is recommended for adults? It's recommended that we do at least 150 minutes a week of moderate intensity aerobic activity, and I'll get into the next slide on what that looks like and what that means, or 75 minutes a week of vigorous aerobic activity, or a combination of both, and preferably spread out through the week. And strength training, like I mentioned in the previous slide, with trying to build up our muscle and our bones, strength training definitely is one thing that should be incorporated at least 2 days per week. So moderate physical activity, what does that mean? So walking briskly 3 miles per hour or faster, but not race walking, would be an example. And they always mention to try and get people to remember between moderate and vigorous is, with moderate, if you're doing some sort of physical activity and you're a little bit out of breath, but if you could still talk, that would still be moderate physical activity. But if you are doing some exercise and you're out of breath and you're not able to talk, then you're most likely doing vigorous physical activity. So with moderate, like I mentioned, walking briskly. So if you and your friend are going out for a walk and you guys are still able to hold a conversation, then that would be considered moderate physical activity. Water aerobics, bicycling less than 10 miles per hour. Tennis if you're doing doubles. Yoga, ballroom dancing, general gardening, and general gardening. And so I love that we have this on our list with general gardening, because I like to also tell people, like, it doesn't have to be your traditional going to the gym to count as physical activity. If you're doing some yard work, especially now that the weather is getting better, then that would be considered a form of physical activity. And now with vigorous, like I mentioned, if you're able to do any of these and you're not able to talk with your workout buddy, then you're hitting that vigorous physical activity. And so that's race walking, jogging, running, swimming, tennis if you're doing singles, aerobic dancing, bicycling if you're doing more faster than 10 miles per hour, jump roping, heavy gardening, so a lot of continuous digging. So if you're really getting into your yards and clearing them up and doing garden beds and that sort of thing. Hiking uphill, which Georgia, very hilly area, or if you're walking just with a heavy backpack, those would be considered some examples of vigorous physical activity. So again, with strength training activities, and I think a lot of people may have this preconception that with strength training, that means, and I think maybe I hear it more so with women, that they don't want to really engage in these types of activities because they feel like they're going to get like bulked up and they don't want to be like bodybuilding. So it's not necessarily that, it's more so what can you do to increase your strength for your bones and muscles. So just like switching that mindset of it's not to get bulked up, but what can I do to really strengthen my bones and muscles, and like listed here, the connective tissues. And so a good strength training program would lower risk of injury. So that's another thing. If you're engaging in strength training and you're very brand new to it, just taking it easy and seeing if you can get assistance from a professional. If you're at the gym, like they're more than happy to assist if you have questions on how to properly utilize one of the machines. Another great benefit, again, with the increased muscle mass, which makes it easier for our body to burn calories, and then maintaining a healthy weight, better quality of life. Again, with strength training, it's recommended twice a week, but even if you just start with once a week and just doing maybe using your own body weight to do some of these strength training activities, and then building up to using weights or using the machines, any little small step can help. And I know for me personally, this has been, I've been on a journey to try and get better at doing some strength training, because I get very self-conscious, like using the machines or the dumbbells. I sometimes put this like pressure that I look silly, but I know for me, it's something that will greatly benefit, and just asking for help can really get you set up for success around strength training in particular. And when it comes to physical activity, there is more of a push now, which I really love, on just what can you do to move more and sit less, because there really is benefit in any type of physical activity and any movement that you do throughout the day. So adults is trying to move more and just sit less throughout the day. And like I mentioned, any physical activity is better than none. And any amount, even if you're not hitting the 150 minutes that's recommended during the week, if you're able to incrementally get to that point, then those are huge wins, and you'll definitely start seeing the benefits of just starting to move some more and incorporating some different activities throughout your day and throughout your week to get you set up for success. And of course, we're having a nice little break with some more movement, so I hope you join me.
All right, grab a chair or ottoman, a poof, or is it puff? Doesn't matter. Something stable you can dip with. All right, 1 dip, 2, 3, 4, nice. 5, starting to feel it? Because I am. And I'm just in animation. Burning. Go ahead. We earned it.
I know my upper body strength is not the best, so whenever I do those, I always feel it. And so I talked a little bit about what is recommended for adults, and I mentioned the recommendation is 150 minutes. And so for those of you who have kids, or are a caregiver for kids, or you have younger siblings, just remembering that with kids, there is the recommendation for children to be active for 60 minutes every day. That's definitely different for from adults, in that with kids, obviously they're still developing physically, cognitively, so it's very important for them to be active every day. And let's say if a full hour of activity is not doable, then at least aiming for at least 2 30-minute periods, or 4 15, just like breaking it up. And that concept is the same for adults. If you're not able to do your standard 1 hour at once through a class or the gym, then just breaking it up throughout the day will still have the same health benefits if you were to do it all at once. So it really just depends on your comfort level and where you are in your own fitness journey and what makes most sense to you and your family. In the chat box, now that we've talked about what's recommended, the great health benefits, and most of these things we really do know. So what are some barriers you face when it comes to being more physically active? I know I mentioned one of my barriers is my own self, me getting a little bit caught up in my head, thinking that I look silly doing some things in the gym. I think another barrier for some of us is with just the time, like trying to get into the routine is sometimes the biggest challenge. And I know that's definitely one for me, because once I start getting into my routine, then I'm pretty good to go. But as soon as there's a big abruption of my day, I feel like, oh, well, now I can't go to the gym. But for me, I know I need to just be better about planning ahead and trying to squeeze it in. So go ahead and put it in the chat box if you have any barriers. And this is really just to build some community and let you know that, hey, you're not the only one that is facing these different types of barriers. So I hope that at the end of this presentation, we're inspired to reach out to one of our colleagues and say, like, hey, I saw that you put time, so do I. Like, do you want to like work out together, like after work or before work, and that sort of thing. So again, just put in the chat box any barriers. I saw one with time. So some possible barriers, because we want to be able to address some possible solutions as well. So I saw someone put in the chat box, and I know I mentioned it too, I don't have enough time. So maybe a possible solution is just selecting an activity that fits into your routine, such as walking in your neighborhood, climbing stairs. Like if you are in an office where maybe you typically take the stairs to the 3rd or 4th level, maybe doing the stairs, parking further away, or exercising while you're watching TV. You're already having that time in front of the screen. Why not just do some of those dips that we did on your couch? I don't have anyone to exercise with, and joining a gym or a walking or a running group for social support. I think that that's really so important to have that social support whenever you're wanting to venture into something new, because then that comes into the not only the accountability, but you also have a buddy to be excited and cheering you on as each other on as you're going into working out, and just that camaraderie that comes out of it. I don't have enough energy. So planning ahead, determine what time of day you're most energetic and schedule activity at that time. I have a friend that works out all the time at 5 in the morning, and I was like, okay, maybe that's something I can try. It's not for me. I can't do 5 in the morning. I always give her a big 2 thumbs up for her to always get up in the morning to go work out. But for her, that works because that's when she feels most energized. And for me, I like to do more of like a midday movement session, because that's when I feel like, okay, like I want to have a break and let me get some fresh air and go for a walk and then come back into work. So I don't have exercise equipment. I know that this was a huge thing during lockdown, that a lot of people were like, oh my gosh, like usually I'm at the gym and I have the equipment. So there's definitely several different things that you can do that don't require gym equipment or membership. So things like walking, jogging, jump rope, which I mean, that's technically some exercise equipment. So maybe that's something that you may have laying around and can use, or any calisthenics. So there's plenty of resources online as well. And I'll be sharing some of the ones that American Heart has for you guys to check out. I have to take care of my family, and I mentioned as adults we want to exercise, but so do the kids. So why not make it a family affair and go to the park, play tag, or just go on a nice brisk walk around your neighborhood. It really just, it can be anything. And so I did want to mention another barrier and some solutions, and it's definitely from our own work days. So adults in the US spend an average 6 to 8 hours a day being sedentary, and that's usually if we're in these office type jobs that you're just kind of glued onto your desk. So I encourage you guys to walk during breaks, take a midday walk during a lunch break, stand during meetings. I know here in our office we have standing desk, and that was such a brand new thing for me from my previous job. So I was so excited that we have that to us as employees. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. Use the standing or adjustable desk. Exercise at your desk. I know some folks are getting those walking pads underneath their desk, and again, kudos to them. I feel like I would not be able to maneuver the walking under with the walking pad and try and have the computer, but I know some people really have enjoyed and loved having that underneath their desk. And of course, try to schedule for physical activity on your calendar and treat it as any other important appointment. So definitely encourage you all to do that. Up your time, like I mentioned, it really you'll be surprised if you incorporate some of these small things throughout the day, that it can definitely add up. And you get the same benefits if you divide your time into 2 or 3 10 to 15 minute segments a day. So again, squeeze in that walk or jog in place. Anything can really add up. So we discussed, okay, we know the recommendations, 150 minutes. We know some possible barriers, and I've shared some possible solutions. So now we're here at the part where let's create that activity plan. So what's next? So for those of you that maybe you have some injuries or just any type of chronic disease that may impair you from just going fully all out in any type of workout routine, then just having that baseline health screening and really having those conversations with your primary care physician, they would be your best tool for those types of questions, since they know your medical record and can advise if you need to do some modifications. Identify and address your obstacles, which we've kind of addressed in some of the barriers and what you can do. And assess yourself. I think that that's the really important thing of like, okay, what are some activities that I've liked in the past that maybe I'll retry? Like I really seem to enjoy doing Zumba dancing. Let me see if there's a Zumba class around. Or, hey, like I went to do yoga and that just wasn't my thing. So if that wasn't your thing, then don't engage in that class. But just really seeing like what are some things that you like, don't like, what's around your area, that sort of thing. And then finally setting your goals, and those of you maybe know the SMART goals, so setting them very achievable and in a timely manner, and just keeping yourself accountable and celebrating those small and big wins. And consider keeping an activity log. I think if that works for you to kind of track your time, I know some people want to, that's how they best keep themselves accountable, but if that's not your thing, then there's other ways to kind of keep track. And I mentioned social support. It really is a great way to engage into doing more movement if that's something that you may struggle with. So setting up a buddy system, making contracts with others to complete. So it's some sort of challenge. Maybe there's like a challenge that could be set up at work that can increase some team building. Setting up a walking group. And again, I've seen a lot of groups come out from just like different neighborhoods or from your work, church, what have you. And sending each other pictures of today's workouts. I know with my friends, we love to send pictures through like Instagram and tagging each other, saying like, hey, like I completed this workout, that sort of thing. So whatever works to kind of keep each other motivated. And with the chat box. So now that we've talked what's recommended, those possible barriers, that action plan and what that entails in those steps, what is one thing that you'll do for your physical health after today's session? So I know for me, I plan on going on a long walk with my puppy. She's very energetic, so she definitely keeps me, she's my accountability buddy, because obviously she needs to go outside all the time. So I'm like, okay, I have to take you outside. So I'm going to do that one long walk with her and go back to figuring out when I can schedule my classes with my workouts. So I encourage you all to put in the chat. I love seeing, I saw someone breaking into intervals, the workouts, going on a walk. So keep them coming, and I hope that we can all keep ourselves accountable just from joining this session today. Of course, have to squeeze in one more session.
Wait. Put down your phone. This is just a little cool down stretch. Fine. You can use it like this. But before I go, I just wanted to say you're awesome. Believe it or not, you're about 90 seconds more active than you were before, and your heart totally noticed. Yeah, the workouts are done, but you don't have to be. Visit heart.org/makemoves to learn more about how you and your heart can keep moving.
Awesome. Of course, with American Heart, we have a plethora of resources. So I mentioned assessing yourself, and that can be some risk factors. And we have this website, mylifecheck.org, that you can go in and get a score and some steps that you can do to address them. With every good workout, you should also be eating a really good meal. So we have a lot of information on some healthy recipes and just different things to consider regarding your nutrition. So check those out. And again, physical activity information at heart.org/move more. There's a ton of great videos. I really encourage, which is some of the ones that were incorporated in today's presentation. They have full workouts. They teamed during American Heart teamed up with Orange Theory Fitness. I don't know if you all are familiar with them, but they provided some great at-home workouts in the Orange Theory style. So very basic and step-by-step cardio. There's some yoga, some meditation videos to also incorporate there. So definitely check it out on our website. And so without further ado, I'll leave it up to questions, but thank you all for having me and for me to share some information and some great resources through American Heart. So are there any questions that I can answer for anyone? Okay, seems like there's no questions. Again, thank you all for having me with American Heart Association. And again, I encourage you all to move more and check out our resources. And I'll make sure to send those to Ryan some of those links to be shared out.
All right. Well, thank you again, Jasmine. And for everyone attending today, thank you for attending. We are actually going to share just a little bit of information about some of our upcoming events before we wrap up today. So sit tight for just a moment while I pull that up. But again, thank you, Jasmine. We really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to give us that really helpful information and teach us a little bit more about physical activity. And we wanted to highlight some opportunities that are popping up here in the near future. So today, speaking of just heart health and kind of taking care of ourselves, from 12:30 to 2:30 p.m., we are going to be set up in the Urban Life West Exhibit Hall. We'll be doing our monthly health screening. So we'll do blood pressure, BMI, and additional health screenings. So if you're interested in maybe getting up and stretching your legs, taking a walk down to Urban Life, we'd love to see you. We can do a health screening for you and get you set up with some good health information. Additionally, as a new incentive, if you are part of the USG Wellbeing Program and you are working towards earning those USG points to get that $200 back in your paycheck, we are offering 100-point vouchers for coming and getting that health screening done. So if you stop by today, get your blood pressure checked, we'll be able to give you one of those vouchers and get you a couple extra points to further you on your journey to getting that $200 back in your paycheck. So definitely come and give us a visit today. We also just wanted to highlight some of our services, such as our health coaching, where we offer those one-on-one appointments for nutrition, stress management, or any health goal you may have. You can email us at edws@gsu.edu, and we can set something up for you. We also offer faculty and staff assistance, as well as our KeyPro Employee Assistance Program. Both of these are opportunities for you to seek help with any issue you may be facing. It can be related to work, or it can be something completely separate, such as a financial issue, a social thing that's going on in your life that you'd like to talk to someone about. Anything like that, you can reach out to either of these two programs and get some assistance there. For FASA, that is an internal program handled here at GSU, and you can email fasa@gsu.edu or call the phone numbers listed there. And for KeyPro, you can call the phone number or access it via the website usg.mylifeexpert.com. We also offer a tobacco cessation program. For more information, you can email us at our main office email. And just our normal business hours, we're open Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 5:30. For emergency assistance, we do have a 24-hour crisis line. You can call that number on the screen there for immediate assistance. And then for just regular contact, our office location is at 75 Piedmont Ave, Suite 360, and our contact info is listed here on this screen. So thank you again, everyone, for attending today. Again, we'll be set up doing those health screenings at the Urban Life West Exhibit Hall today from 12:30 to 2:30. So stop by, get that screening, and get yourself some USG well-being points while you're at it. All right, well, have a great rest of your day, everyone, and we hope to see you again soon. Thank you.